evening. We appreciate your patience with us. At the end of this school year, it is always very busy for us in our closed sessions, and we appreciate you holding on and staying with us. Tonight's going to be a night of a few things that are a bit sad and some things that are very exciting and uplifting. And with that in mind, we're going to first start off, of course, with our pledge. And tonight, a very special teacher, Madame Blake from Ladera Vista Junior High, is going to lead us in the pledge. I'm not going to tell you about her other than that she teaches history and French, because later on this evening, I'll tell you a lot more about her. So, Madame?
Would you please rise? Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you all. I have nothing to report out from closed session, and I want our public to be aware that we have simultaneous Korean and Spanish translation if it's needed. So please note on our website how to plug into either of those. And we are happy to have people with us and hope that they will be able to understand all that's going on. For the sad part of our beginning of our meeting tonight, we have lost 3 lovely people from our school family. And they were surprises to us, which made their losses all the greater. Dory Skaggs is a longtime teacher in our district, TK kindergarten, and really known for being a part of her community and for her great ability to teach reading. And she had just put in, and that day or the night before, received her retirement request. And so that adds to the sadness of the loss. And we want to share with her family that we feel an extension of her family. And the entire community really misses her. Next, Ballestera, Al. He worked in M&O. For those of you who knew Al, you knew that if he met you once and knew your name, he never forgot it. He was always a pleasure, outgoing, kind, funny too, at least with me, and just a good person. During this particular year, when we worry about the air in our classrooms and the such, he worked on air conditioning and worked very hard and caring to take care of the safety of our staff and our students. He was killed suddenly in a motorcycle accident on his way to work, and that makes it super tragic. Super tragic. And last but not least, there's a picture. Could you put that up on the wall? That is our friend, Jack Bedell, who used to sit at this very table as a school board member. Later, he served at the county school board. That smile is from the heart, and that young woman, that child he's speaking to, is our own Bev Berryman. So Bev brought joy to Jack Bedell, and we even remember that day at the Orange County Department of Ed when we were receiving an award. And Jack taught at the university. He actually chaired 4 different departments during his tenure there. Most interestingly, when there are problems, the university turns to Jack Bedell. Why? He knows how to find common ground, respect, dignity, and bringing people together. What a God-given talent, and what we want everyone to be able to do. So he chaired the Academic Senate 7 times. He even came out of retirement to do it. Just an incredibly kind man who had his finger on everything from the Arboretum to the Rotary to kids everywhere. And for those who have gone to college in the last 20 years, who have had children go to college, it is Jack who came up with the A to F requirements for junior college. You may like or not like that, but it is he that put that into place. And so these are 3 really important people to our family that we are so sorry to have lost. And to all their families, we share their grief and we send them our heartfelt condolences. Having said something so sad, really sad, I'd like to perk us up now as we move on to Parks Junior High. Would you like to share with us, Dr. Lee? And here comes our representative. Hello, Ms. Makeley.
President
Principal of
Sugarman,
Parks.
Board of Trustees, Dr. Bob Plecka, and fellow cabinet members, the California Department of Education identifies and recognizes exemplary schools through their California Distinguished School Program. To meet the criteria, you have to have a blue or green, by the way, which are very high levels. In ELA and math performance, you also need to have a level blue or green in the levels of chronic absenteeism, as well as suspension on the California Dashboard reporting system. We know the criteria in which you are qualified to get this school, but it doesn't even speak on behalf of the amazing leadership and the hardworking staff, so well deserving of this title and award. It is my honor to introduce to you Principal Laura Makeley and to give her congratulations for this title and honor of California Distinguished Schools.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. President Sugarman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Plecka, Executive Cabinet, thank you so much for recognizing this. After a really rough year, this is an especially sweet reward and encouragement to receive from the state. When I first read the letter, I was really surprised because generally it's a very arduous application process because you have to have a validation visit, et cetera. So they took that away because of COVID, but it doesn't take away the prestige of the award. And I'm so proud of the hard work that our teachers and our students put in every day in our parent community. I will say that PBIS has made a tremendous difference at Parks. We're committed to the process, and that's where we've seen the fruits of our labor and our discipline changes, suspension rates, and absenteeism. I want to thank the Executive Cabinet for all of your support in helping us get to this really exciting milestone, and I couldn't be more proud. So thank you very much.
We often talk about an award as a moment in time that celebrates the accomplishments, but awards are really about day-to-day excellence, habits of excellence, and Parks has displayed and shown that habit of excellence year after year. And so I also want a special shout out to the Principal Laura Makeley, who has shown incredible leadership through some incredible adversity over the last couple of years. So, shout out to also Laura. Junior high has been an area that we have worked. We have committed teachers, we have committed principals, support staff, and so want to take a moment to say that really we're really proud of all 3 of our junior highs. And so just to start, Ladera Vista in 2018 was recognized nationally as a schools to watch. So there's that logo. In 2019, Nicholas was acknowledged for their national recognition as a schools to watch. Ladera Vista came back for a second time on a national recognition for schools to watch. And Parks 2020-2021 Distinguished School. Very proud of all three of our junior highs, of the hard work, and all our staff.
And now we are going to honor another one of our own. But when we say another one of our own, in this case, it really should be another bunch of our own. Al Aquesta, will you come here, please? For those of you who do not know, Al has been president of our classified union for a very long time. Now, you might say working in the district and being president of the union, that could have been enough, but oh no. Al has a wonderful mother who has a history in our district. Is Marie here? Oh, I've known her 25 years, right? More, 35 years. Oh, since I was born. Okay. Now, what some people may know is I asked, well, actually, Carmen Serna, our secretary, asked your daughter, Teresa, if she could share something about you. I want to tell you that I don't think my children could ever come up within writing a note giving the love and respect to a parent that Teresa shared with us. Is Teresa here tonight? Oh, I'm so sorry. Your children, Timothy, Crystal, Nicholas, and Samantha, are all wonderful young adults. And you have 3 granddaughters? 5. 2 grandsons. Would you like to introduce them if they're here? Who's here?
Oh, they're not here today.
What? Wait a minute. I have like 27 pages that was written to me about this man because he's so special. And his wife, Esther, he's been married to for 39 years. She works for the Fullerton Union High School District. She's been there for 27 years, right? Your dad worked in Placentia Loma Belinda. George has worked in this district for 31 years, electronic engineer too. And Teresa, North Orange County Community College District. I mean, this family is dedicated to education. And Teresa's been an instructional assistant. And these are the type of families that make us able to call our schools a family. Teresa's been at Richmond 21 years, dedicated to helping with the students of that school. So now let's go to you. I'm going to quote your daughter. The greatest husband and dad on this planet. Right here, everybody take a look. The greatest husband and dad on this planet. So I don't know how much more I can say for you other than this. Everyone who knows you feels your passion for your job and your union, meaning you want to reach out and be kind with all the people with whom you work. You also are a wonderful partner with the leadership in the school district as the leader of your union. And you've made all sorts of wonderful things happen for our children, our schools, and your colleagues in the classified union. because of that passion. And the final thing I want to quote from your daughter is, she says she asked you if you ever wanted to work somewhere else, and that she asked you that more than once. And do you remember your answer?
I mentioned I started here when I was 14. I can't leave this place. I'm not sure if that's the exact word she used.
You said never.
I did say never, but I said, like I said, I started here at a very young age and through a city program and then moved on with the district, yes. This is my family here.
Thank you for all your years of service, for all the service your family has given and will continue to give. And we appreciate it. The board has a certificate of appreciation, and we hope that you hang it with pride because we are proud of you. Congratulations. Do you want to say something else?
Thank you, President Sugarman. As you may know, our longtime CSEA chapter president, Al, retired in February. Al will be deeply missed in the district, especially among classified employees. We would like to share congratulations and deep, heartfelt gratitude for the 12 years he was our dedicated president and chief union steward, as well as the additional 18 years of service on our exec board. I'd like to share a little bit of Al's FSD story. He was hired as a substitute custodian in March 1982. 3 years later, Al earned a permanent position as a custodian 1. In 2009, Al moved to a custodian 2 position. During his time at FSD, Al supported Sunset Lane, Commonwealth, and Orensthorpe Elementaries, and earned several letters of appreciation for his service to the school community. Recently, a colleague witnessed an amazing exchange. Al was explaining to Paul Dinas the history behind an FSD policy. Al said, "It all began back in 1984. And Paul immediately pointed out that Al had been fighting for classified employee rights since before he was born. Al takes with him an irreplaceable amount of historical district knowledge, tried and tested procedures, and his steward expertise. Al was a wonderful mentor to everyone who served on the exec board, but especially to the members who were selected to attend the annual conference with him. Al wanted the delegates to understand the honor and responsibility of representing the members here at home and to appreciate all we have worked to establish here in Fullerton. He constantly poured his heart into our chapter, leaving a crater that will be difficult, if not impossible, to fill." We also reached out to Al's family, and Dr. Sugarman, or President Sugarman, used the same quote, but I'm going to say that again, where Teresa asked, "Would you ever want to work anywhere else?" And you said never, to which I posed the question, will FSD classified employees ever forget the dedication and service Al gave to the district and to the chapter? Never. So we also would like to present Al with the certificate of appreciation for 30 years of service to our chapter. Congratulations, Al. We're forever grateful.
First, I want to say thank you to Hilda Sugarman, President Sugarman. And I'm all choked up right now, and Dr. Pleka and Cabinet and the school board members. Thank you very much. Yes, it was a hard, difficult decision to leave, but time had to come. So again, but I will miss you guys all. Thank you very much for all the service you've done for the kids, the community, and everything we've done for our classified members and everybody else within the district too. But thank you very much.
a heartfelt recognition. Mark Jablonski, will you come up? Is Brian here tonight? Oh, that's okay. For those of you who don't know, this short young man is named Mark Jablonski. He represents St. Jude Hospital, and he is Superman to me and to many people in this district. When COVID hit and vaccines came out and rules allowed people to start getting shots, I turned to Mark and said, Mark, can you help people in the Fullerton School District? And his response was, bring them on. And so he found shots for all employees 65 years and older, and he didn't care what their job was, where they lived. He was there to give support to our staff who would be of concern without having shots. He probably would have given it to everybody in the world, but of course, we had rules to follow, right? Still do. And being the great partner St. Jude is with us, Mark and his CEO, Brian Hallinan, as colors changed and protocols changed, they slowly adopted different schools. And they had the staff of these schools come to the hospital and get inoculated with the vaccine. And what a relief to those teachers who are so concerned about so much and want to teach our children, who are Zooming and rooming. And thank you. There is no way that I can truly express to you, Brian, and you, Mark and Brian, the appreciation we have of the partnership St. Jude is giving to our schools. You have made a difference in the emotional health, which is so important right now, of so many people. Please always be you, Mark. Mark is always the kindest, most caring man. He is. And bring our words back to Brian and tell him how much we share in giving gratitude and thanks for the partnership with you. I think behind me I may have my superintendent.
Just to say that over the years, St. Jude has been a partner year after year, that whenever there's been a time of need, they've always been there, and we really appreciate. And this time that I know at times this year it was scary, and at times that we needed and wanted support, and you guys actually reached out to us to be able to provide that. So just to say thank you so much. We really, really value the partnership, and we appreciate also the service and the years of collaboration. And this is not like we've been literally doing this for decades, so thank you.
We heard a moment ago about how important PBIS is to Park Junior High and many of our schools. And PBIS is funded through the Community Outreach Program of St. Jude Hospital. Another way you've helped us. We want a picture. Dr. Pleka, come back up. We want to take a picture and post it. And I hope I'm not too tall. His wife is also tall.
If I could be so bold as to take a couple minutes to say thank you to President Sugarman, Superintendent Pletka, and to the board, certainly. We have, as Superintendent said, have enjoyed a relationship with the district for many years. Even looking at the mosaic reminds me of what we're gifted with. We have 3 of your mosaics that your students have gifted us with that bring joy and beauty to our campus, and we're grateful for them every day when our caregivers come into work. This has been a year that none of us ever anticipated, and we would all like to forget. But it's far from being over at this point in time. As you know, there continues to be concerns about the vaccination process. Literally today, Johnson & Johnson has been put on pause at this point in time. The good news is that we have Pfizer, And Pfizer has been approved not only for, now the state is allowed, as of Thursday, 16 plus. So any of your teenagers will be eligible as of Thursday to be vaccinated. And Pfizer is also the only vaccine that's been approved by the FDA for 12-year-olds and above. So we're anticipating that this summer is going to be a busy summer for children getting vaccinated, and we'll obviously look to partnering with all of you in your schools to do that. We are giving out at this point approximately 800 to 900 vaccines a day. And we're doing so in a way that people don't have to wait in long lines like you're seeing on the news, to try to manage that process as smoothly as we can. So please communicate to your teachers. If any of your staff, be they educators or support staff, have still not been vaccinated, our doors are open. They just need to let us know or let President Sugarman know, and she'll make the connection point. We will get them registered so that they can be vaccinated. Pfizer is a 2-dose vaccine, obviously, and we'll welcome them back for that second vaccine as well. So we want to continue to partner with your district, and we thank you very much for the recognition. Thank you.
Last but not least, in giving honors tonight, Darcy Blake, will you please come up? I promised you that I would tell you more about this wonderful lady. Darcy teaches history, ELA, and Darcy for years now has had her students participate in the Chapman University contest on the Holocaust. It's a contest where students do an online interview, visual, pre-done, right?
With video testimony.
Video testimony. I think that's through the Shoah Foundation.
Shoah Foundation, yeah, and the 1939 Society.
1939 Society. And then they write essays. So you might think, okay, good. We write DAR essays too in the 6th grade or 5th grade. But what makes this different? When you go to the awards for the Holocaust Memorial winners, the entire auditorium is filled, the bottom and the bleachers. And who are they filled with? Students from Asia who didn't win. Students from Europe who may not have won. Students from the Middle East. They're all there. They're there to represent their schools and their countries in memorial to a travesty that was done in our world. And it's really appropriate tonight for Darcy to share with us, because Friday is the memorial well, you can't call it a celebration, is the memorial commemoration of the Holocaust, the 8th of April. And so the next 10 minutes are yours. And please tell us about your students and their journey and the honors that you win every year. And well, every year I go, they win.
Okay.
Here you go.
Thank you so much. Thank you, President Sugarman. Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, Superintendent Pletka, everybody, for allowing me to celebrate Ladera Vista student success with you. Each year, as she said, our 8th graders participate in the International Holocaust Art and Writing Contest. It wasn't always international. It started off 22 years ago as a local Southern California thing, and it just grew and became huge, and over 200 schools across the world now participate in it. We have all of the students, I've always had them write, but this year I allowed them to choose to write a script for the film category, which a few of them did agree to do. There are 4 categories: art, poetry, prose, and film. And sometimes we have finalists. I've been blessed with having some second-place winners. This year, we're only allowed to send in 3 total entries, no matter the category. 3, that's it. Out of all of them, we have a committee that chooses them. All 3 of our entries this year were finalists. We had Lydia Wang and Violet Chen for prose, and we had our first film entry which was Rhiannon and Jewel. But that's not all. This year, we had 2 second place. One. It's incredible what the students can do. And in this really difficult year, I was a little bit nervous, I'll be honest, because it's hard to motivate. It's challenging to get the kids to engage. But this contest really pulled out a prompt that spoke to all of the students. What the students do is that they watch a full-length Holocaust survivor video testimony. This year's prompt asked them to look for a specific word, phrase, or sentence that speaks to the inner strength of the survivor and the role of connectedness in sustaining that strength. Then the students, now entrusted with the survivor's memory, explored the word or phrase as central to the survivor's story, as central to their understanding, their new understanding of the Holocaust, and their own search this year for inner and shared strength during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was an excellent prompt this year, and they rose to the occasion. We had such a hard time choosing them. But I would love to be able to share with you our second place winners now. Violet recorded her prose, and of course, Ree's film is already available. So I think we have it queued.
People in the hallway may want to come stand by the wall so they can see. Okay.
Staying to survive. Stay, leave. Separate, together. Alone, connected. The Holocaust, the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay. A simple action, yet it can be one of the most meaningful actions. Whether it's staying indoors, staying together, or staying alive, it can be the very thing that empowers one to develop inner strength and connectedness. For it is the presence of others that matters most when one finds themselves feeling isolated, mentally or physically. Stay. That is how Rosette Fisher, survivor from Lodz, Poland, persisted through the Holocaust. Recalling how she and her mother remained in a camp, Rosette says, "I couldn't leave her alone, so I wouldn't go, so I stayed for her." From the beginning, all Rosette could remember was a very happy home. Starting in 1923, she stayed surrounded by her mother, father, and sisters, whom she respected and loved so much. Unfortunately, her memories of connectedness were tainted when the Nazis sent her and her family to Drancy, a transit camp in the outskirts of Paris in 1943. There, Rosette heard fearful screams and witnessed angst in the eyes of other victims. She remained in Drancy for 6 months, where she tried to stay together with her family in an unbelievable and unreal atmosphere. After arriving in Auschwitz in 1943, Rosette learned of her father's and sister's deaths. Unable to tell her mother, she put on a face and lied about their whereabouts. Though Rosette desperately wanted to go under the wire to escape, she stayed for her mother, who was not strong physically, but had a strong faith they would survive. In early 1945, Rosette and her mother were forced on a death march to Ravensbrück, a German concentration camp. "If you stayed behind, they would shoot you," says Rosette. During the march, as her mother fell further and further behind, she heard bodies falling to the side. "Leave me here, you just continue," her mother uttered. Rosette wouldn't allow her to cease walking. Dragging her mother, she stayed behind, reminding her, "You wanted to survive. Let's walk." In a shaking voice, Rosette repeats her mother's words. "We are going to survive. We have to tell people." Staying with others was Rosette's way of remaining connected and together to survive. Regardless of the consequences she could have faced, Rosette persevered through the Holocaust, staying with her mother and rediscovering happiness. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, staying at home has been crucial for my survival. It has impelled me to stay connected to my family more than ever. My parents are privileged to be able to work from home, and my sisters and I are blessed to have the option of distance learning. Though being cooped up inside with the same people every day may seem repetitive and mundane, knowing they'll stay just around the corner or a few rooms away provides comfort. Our feeling of togetherness prospers as we stay together, strengthening our bonds through saying our daily prayers, performing our chores, and cherishing each meal. By staying close to them, I establish connections that help me surmount various obstacles in life, such as coping with the recent passing of my cousin Santi, who I couldn't visit due to COVID-19. Whether giving me a small pep talk or offering a hug as a reminder family is there for me, they have been my greatest source of consolation and unconditional support. Rosette's testimony has reminded me that it is through the presence of my family that I find my inner strength and happiness. Even after her mother's death, Rosette states her mother will still be with me as long as I live. Her presence stayed with Rosette, and just as Rosette survived the Holocaust, I hope to survive the pandemic. In times like these, the need to stay at home, stay connected, and stay together has intensified. Though it is a simple action I take, it's one of the most meaningful.
Live. A word so simple that we often forget what it truly means. Living isn't just breathing, it's connecting and learning what it means to be alive. The daughter of disabled Jewish parents, Angelina Bilauer lived through the Holocaust. She didn't survive it, she lived through it. And we can live through the pandemic. Growing up in Berlin, Angelina had connections that were stronger than words. Losing these connections resulted in tragedies such as her brother's suicide. But when these connections strengthened, it was impossible to lose them. That's when you start living. When Angelina and her family were forced out of their homes, Angelina's sister, Frida, chose to stay with her.
If it wouldn't be for my sister, I would never have survived.
They were transported from camp to camp. It was near the end of the war when their situation was most dire. After 12 hours of working on factory machines in Neuengamme, Angelina's shift was over. She walked through the cold back to the barrack and stood for the next 12 hours until her next shift. She couldn't sit down. She had to keep standing.
We have to live through it.
In recounting her ordeal, Angelina pauses just before she says, "Live through it." She didn't say survive, she said live. When Angelina was liberated, she was free to live, but she refused to leave Frida, and Frida refused to leave her. Their connection got them through so much, they weren't going to lose it now. No one expected the Holocaust, and no one expected the pandemic. Being an only child, I have no one to talk to. Yes, I have my parents, but they've already lived. I haven't, and I don't know if I ever will. It's terrifying. What ifs echo through my head every night. What if the pandemic never ends? What if nothing goes back to normal? What if I never get to live? But now I know what living truly is. It's connecting with the world around you. Even though everything is online, we can still build those connections.
We have to hold on.
Over 75 years ago, Angelina and her family were pushing through the horrors of the concentration camps, not knowing what the future had in store. Still, they shared their strength and built unbreakable bonds. That's what we need to do for each other now. We need to give each other strength through our connections, not to survive, but to live. Angelina became stronger because she lived through the Holocaust. And years from now, we'll be stronger, for we lived through the pandemic.
so important for young people to know what happened. And I wish you all a good future and no problems. Thank you again. I was really, really very impressed and touched by your film. I really admire you for doing that. And thanks again, many, many times.
Thank you so much for bringing that to us and sharing. And that leaves you sort of a little bit sad to see these presentations. On the other hand, you might not be surprised. I know quite a few Holocaust survivors, spent time with them. And the one thing they all have is an open heart. They look forward to the future with joy and blessings. And I think that's sort of how we look as we're getting out of COVID, the same way. That we will have joy and blessings in the future. And so they do leave us with something good. The look that in the future things are going to be okay. And the hope that things like this will never happen again. And that COVID is not going to come back to us again. So we have happy thoughts to think of in the future. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mademoiselle. Madame. Now, let's go to our agenda. Yes? Oh. Why don't we start it right now with a public comment so that they've been wonderful to stay all this time as we've honored so many people. Thank you.
Right. Good evening. My name is Sophia Martinez, and I'm here on behalf of Early Childhood OC. I want to thank you for your ongoing care and consideration of children you serve in your district. Early Childhood OC is a collaborative of 34 cross-sector agencies, and we are here to support Orange County in building resilient families, ensuring quality early learning opportunities, and providing a seamless system of care for the health and development of our youngest citizens using an upstream model. We know that by prioritizing the first 8 years of life, when 95% of brain development has occurred, we will attain economic, academic, and social benefits for generations to come. Based on the Early Development Index data from 2019, 53% of children in Orange County are ready for kindergarten. That means 47% are not ready. Unfortunately, the pandemic has robbed many children of critical early learning experiences and the opportunity to practice and develop social skills. We can expect that children entering TK or kinder this coming fall may lack the foundational social and emotional skills necessary for learning and a smooth transition into the TK and 12 system. Given the collective trauma we are all experiencing, please consider directing a portion of your funding for summer school and fall programming for TK through second grade in the following domains: social and emotional skills, the foundation to all other learning, focusing on building positive and responsive relationships between teachers and students, teachers and parents, and student to student will help to ensure a more successful school year. Emotional literacy, the ability to identify, label, and begin to self-regulate emotions in oneself and identify them in others. Supporting students' emotional literacy will help to build resilience, develop foundational relationships, and support a sense of belonging, which leads to academic achievement. Play. Structured and unstructured play, according to a study in 2017 by the American Academy of Pediatrics, is one opportunity to promote the social, emotional, cognitive, language, and self-regulation skills that build executive function and a pro-social brain and help mitigate toxic stress. and physical activity. According to the CDC, regular physical activity reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression, improves memory, attention, and concentration, and helps children stay on task, reduces disruptive behavior, and improves social and emotional development. Thank you for your time and consideration this evening.
Thank you very much. Do you have a copy of that? Why don't you give that to Carmen, and I'm sure that our staff will be pleased to look at all of your suggestions. And we will have a robust summer school this year. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next, we have our superintendent's report.
So first, how about one more shout out for Darcy Blake and her students. I don't know about you, but personally, I was like moved emotionally by what was written, as well as the kind of very artistic presentation that went with that essay. How about one more round of applause for all of them? There's a lot of different things. In fact, we have a couple presentations tonight. So all I want to do is give some foreshadowing for what you're going to see and some of the work that we're doing and some of the things related to COVID-19. So at this point, we are looking forward to a full reopening of school next year. And so we are working in that direction, and we expect so. And from every indication from our state legislatures, our governor, and the feds and California Department of Public Health, we do anticipate opening up, starting school with a back to normal thrust as we move forward. Second area, foreshadowing in the area of social emotional learning. We know that there's never been a time in the last, let's say, decade where we have seen so much in need in the area of social emotional learning. As an example, our own screening tools in this area, we've seen a 40% spike in students that needs extra support social emotionally. Also, in this county, it was not that long ago that every bed in the area of suicide for students and for children was filled in Orange County, and you had to actually leave the county to be able to receive help. So this is an area that has spiked because of the pandemic, and we anticipate there will be needs. And so coming before the board through the LCAP committee is all kinds of supports in this area, including things like social workers and social and mental health therapists and lead counselors. So that's something, a little foreshadowing. At our next meeting, we'll be sharing more about that. And at the LCAP meeting coming up, you'll hear even more, and we look forward to also your suggestions and ideas as we move forward. In the area of learning loss, so we receive funds, millions of dollars, specifically for learning loss. And so we have worked hard, and I'm going to give Dr. Lee a lot of credit pulling this together throughout our district to provide additional support. So this summer kicks off our programs. Right now, parents can go to our website and go ahead and start registering for summer school classes and camps. As an example, we have all the arts camp. We will be extending then that support, new supports in the area of learning loss. We'll be bringing those before you as well in the next month or so. We are also very excited as we talk about learning loss, and we for sure talk about things like language arts and mathematics. We are very proud of our history in the area of the arts. And as we talk about learning loss and we talk about the need, our kids also need to have opportunities again in the area of arts. And we look forward to be able to offer those in-person art experiences that our district and our schools are known for, and we will be pushing forward in this area. We also have a very exciting opportunity to work with the Hunt Library and their partnerships with their art focus, and so we're looking forward to working with them and with the city and OC Art as well. So these are some of the things that will be coming, and we are excited to share more about those areas. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. That was a lot of information, and I hope it got through all the translation. It's all very important. Next, Trustee Chikora, would you like to make some comments?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciated how you began the meeting tonight, President Sugarman. It's some sadness, but really with just a lot of hope. I really believe that there's nothing wrong with our community or our country that can't be fixed with education, and everybody up here knows that education is so much about love. And so last year we engaged in a very difficult conversation about policing in America and race, and as the trial of Derek Chauvin is actually happening right now, we have another what seems to me to be another senseless loss of life. I'm so grateful to Fullerton School District for taking on the education of our staff, our administrators, this board, and our students for how to be more, really more loving and caring. The district's email about standing with the AAPI community, the Asian American community, which is such an integral part of Fullerton and Fullerton School District, made me very happy. And I feel like it just was emblematic of sort of what we've all learned in the last year. So my family and I, with the upcoming Asian American History and Awareness, Faja Singh keeps going. We're donating one of these copies to each elementary school. It's about a marathon runner, a turban-wearing marathon runner named Faja Singh, who was running marathons over the age of 100. And it's really an example of representation. Going into a school library and seeing a character in a book that looks like you, it's just such a small act, but I think it has repercussions through life. And so today is the start of Ramadan and Vaisakhi. We wish a peaceful start to the season to everybody in our community and everybody that's celebrating. I just wanted to say I miss seeing Pat Padilla at the front of the office here. I know that we're friends on Facebook, so I know she's enjoying her retirement very much. But I just want to compliment the district on hiring Esme. It really is so important. Who do you have seeing the community, maybe somebody that's thinking about enrolling their children in the school district? The first person they meet really has a huge impact, and the fact that Esme went to Nicholas Junior High as well, just a huge plus. So, some sad things, but I guess I want to say that I personally can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know that many in our community are getting vaccinated. I encourage everybody that can to do so. Tonight we're going to be talking about sharing fields with the city. My perspective is through the Rangers Football Club, starting spring soccer again, just being out there, the freshly cut grass, kids' faces, the relief on parents' faces that their kids are getting out and getting some fresh air. It just reminds me how important Fullerton School District is to just about every facet of life in this great city. So really just honored to be here. 6 more weeks till the end of this school year. Summer off, and then a new school year. And then finally, shout out to the Pac-12, all of the men's and women's basketball teams, but especially to UCLA men's basketball for making it to the Final Four. I thought maybe that young man in the USC sweatshirt was here to make me feel bad about saying that, but he's gone now, so I can say it. So anyway, good night. Thanks, everybody.
Trustee Berryman?
To go after that? I don't have as much to say other than ditto a lot of what you said. 6 more weeks. Wow, didn't that go fast? I do think that watching the fields, as you were talking about, the fields have never been so crowded. What makes me happy to see that during this whole pandemic is that families found time to be together. And I hope that as we get through this and things turn out to kind of get back to normal, that a lot of our families take a look at what good came of this. And the fact that families were able to spend more time together not structured, not having to run from place to place, I think really should be taken to heart and continued. I'm going to just throw out a shout out. I know that a lot of our principals and school site staff, as well as our board, has been invited to the National Giving Alliance's yearly meeting and their small little fundraiser that they have. In case no one knows, National Giving Alliance was the old Needlework Guild, changed their name. This is an organization that we partner with that helps clothe the needy. So if a school site has a family or children in their schools that need clothing, linens, or toiletries, the staff would contact the shopping people at NGA. They would go out and shop. They'd buy 2 outfits, one to wash and one to wear. They deliver it back to the school site, and anonymously, the school site gives it to those families that are in need. The Fullerton National Giving Alliance has been around. They are celebrating their 70th year in Fullerton next year, 70 years. Founded in 1885, I believe. So they've been around for a very long time, doing very good work. So on April the 28th, I think that most of you guys have that in your calendar, from 3 to 4, it's a Zoom gala. And so this is where they'll do a raffle. This is how National Giving Alliance gets their funding, through donations from the community. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. If you're interested in attending that and you haven't already RSVP'd, or I don't even think we need to RSVP. If you need the information in the Zoom link, let me know.
Thank you.
I believe that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Martin.
Well, I think the theme for tonight with all of us is we see a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's so exciting to see so many of the FSD people being able to get the vaccine if they choose. And in reflecting back from a year ago, it's really nice to see that we're coming out of it. And I reflect back on the teachers, the classified, the board, the cabinet, and everybody who put their dedication to making the year okay for kids, both educationally, health, and mentally. Everybody stepped up, and it was a hard thing to step up to because nobody really knew where this flight of stairs were. And so I just want to thank everybody and let it be known that we recognize that your dedication and your time and your heart is for the kids of Fullerton School District, and that's what makes us such a great place. And 6 more weeks, hang in there. And it's exciting to hear that we're going to have a full reopening next fall. And kudos to everybody who is making that happen in a way that everybody's going to feel good. So a big heartfelt thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, so 6 more weeks, and then we get to start the new year over again. No, I did definitely want to make sure that everyone can acknowledge the letter that went out for the AAPI community, making sure that everyone out in the community knows that went out. And definitely the theme of today, exactly kind of coming through adversity with COVID, finishing the year off pretty strong. Hopefully out in some more positives, and definitely rolling into a better next year as well too. Definitely, kudos to staff, teachers, everyone that made this possible, and definitely looking forward to a better next year as well too. Definitely a big thing in social emotional support for our kids, parents, teachers. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Can't believe it's coming near the end. That's just crazy. A few things I want to share tonight. First of all, I wanted to say I'm excited that I'm super excited that school's going to be real in the fall. Hopefully, nothing will change. And with that, I want to mention that last time we met at this board, We had about 50% of our students back in school and 50% still at home, and we announced that. And I wanted to share with you that as of today, we have 60% of our students at school, either through hybrid or 5-day, and 40% at home. So people are becoming either more courageous or comfortable or optimistic, or realize all the work that has been done by the leadership of this district and the hardworking people in M&O and everywhere else. Our staff willing in junior highs to clean desks, to ensure safety for our students and themselves. And we look forward to the next board meeting having even more students back in schools, because it's a good place for students to be. STEM Nation has been held. That is the old Robot Nation. And you might notice that quite a few of us are wearing these STEM Nation masks, gifts of the Fullerton Education Foundation. And 500 students completed the tasks for STEM Nation. And of those 500 students, awards will be given out on 2 dates. One, April 14th at Fissler School, starting at 3 o'clock, and the other, April 21st at Pack Drive, also starting at 3 o'clock. There will be gift certificates given to winners, presented by the Fullerton Education Foundation, and Ozobot will be given out, Ozobots. So people are stepping up to really partner with Phil Ling, Jason Chang, and the people who are in charge of STEM Nation to support our students. That's pretty exciting to me. Here is what you have been waiting to hear. So let's everybody give attention. Come to yourself calmly, because the news is here. Drive-in movie night. I'll say it again. Drive-in movie night will be held May 8th at Ladera Vista Junior High. And all of us know the way there because there's a lot of COVID testing done there. And it will be $80 per car, up to 4 people. This is for sure a fundraiser. But know that it is a Fullerton Education Foundation fundraiser, so there will be surprises for you for coming. Some of you may want to know, what's the movie? Grease, a sing-along. So come and see Grease with us. There will be treats for you. And not to mention, we hope to have talent for you from 3 of our 3 junior highs presented on the 40-foot big screen. Oh my God, it's got to be a good hair day for those who care about that. Anyway, $80 for up to 4 people in a car, $20 extra for any other people. So put 10 in your car, we don't care. But there will be enough treats for everybody. I won't tell you what they are though. It's a surprise. Bring your singing voice, and remember, so long as you're singing in your own car, nobody can hear you, so I think I'm going to sing. So, once again, May 8th, Ladera Vista Junior High on the grass. Pretty exciting. And I do want to take one other moment to say 2 things to Trustee Takor. You forgot Stanford Girls won. That's near and dear. Okay, Stanford Girls, we're proud of them. And second of all, I want to commend you for being a standard for donating books to all 20 of our schools. We appreciate it. Our schools are looking for culturally diverse books, and you really hit the nail on the head. As generous of you and your family. If anyone in our community, if any of our organizations, be it Rotary, be it Lions Club, want to support our schools in a different way this year, we are happy to accept books either to the district. Families, if you're interested in doing it and getting a tax deduction, you can do it through the Fullerton Education Foundation. There's a page there. You can give money or you can give specific books. But thank you for anyone who does, and a special thank you for setting the standard, Trustee Tafar. And with that, we're going to move on. Oh, the audience is saying finally. So we're going to move on first of all to PTA. Do we have a comment from PTA?
Yes, we sure do, President Sugarman.
Good.
On behalf of PTA, they sent in their report. Good evening, everyone. We hope you are all feeling as optimistic as we are these days. With the vaccines rolling out to almost everyone and things starting to open up again, it really feels like spring has sprung and there is a lot of hope. PTA is moving along quite well. Fullerton Council had our annual elections just a couple of weeks ago, so we would like to present our new board for the 21-22 school year. Presidents Christy Carter and Wendy Reed, Executive VP Nivi Jawar, Secretary Lisa Sherman, Treasurer Open. What a great opportunity for someone to join us. Membership, Kathy Fernandez, Auditor Lisa Jewell, and Historian Jody Frosto. We're also looking for nominations for our Honorary Service Awards. This award honors those that give outstanding service to the children and youth of our community. We encourage you to nominate anyone in our community you think is deserving of this award. There are 4 different categories for HSA. Honorary Service Award, Very Special Person Award, Outstanding Teacher, and Outstanding Administrator. We have a link to the nomination form on our Facebook page. Also, for those who are graduating seniors at Fullerton Joint Union High School District, we are still accepting scholarship applications for our PTA scholarships. We look forward to seeing everyone again very soon. Sincerely, Wendy Reed and Christy Carter. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a report from CSEA? Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Pleka, President Sugarman, members of the board, cabinet, and community. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sherry Williamson. I'm speaking on behalf of CSEA. As our county and district continue to move forward with testing, vaccines, and in a more traditional activity as we talked about tonight, planning for the next school year, CSE membership would like to thank the district for continuing to do everything possible to provide a safe, healthy environment for students, teachers, and staff. As my colleagues have noted in previous board meetings, classified employees provide necessary services to the district community. Tonight, I would like to highlight a group without whom no school could function, the office staff. The office manager and clerks are the heart of a school. They are the first faces families see, the ones with all of the answers, the team who help us keep it together and running. They are the often unsung heroes of a school site. I hope to give you an idea of just how essential they are to the schools and to FSD. Our office teams provide local business services, including answering incredibly busy phone lines with a smile, maintaining budgets and ledgers, creating purchase orders and ordering supplies and equipment, coordinating deliveries and mail, submitting work orders for building maintenance and improvements, managing facilities rentals, and generally ensuring that the business of our school can function efficiently on a daily basis. Our office teams provide local HR and payroll services. They onboard new employees, complete payroll for 3 classes of employees, ensure the safety of confidential information, ensure substitute staffing is fully prepared and has everything needed. They find internal coverage for unfilled absences. For those at junior high, that can mean up to 7 or 8 periods in a day. Complete workers' comp paperwork, manage volunteer applications, and often attend our CSEA meetings and help classified employees stay informed. Our office teams are scheduling masters. They create multiple school calendars and bell schedules, schedule every student for classes. Again, at junior high, this sometimes means meeting academic and elective requirements over 7 or 8 periods. They schedule school pictures, coordinate assemblies, awards and graduation ceremonies. They schedule interpreters, send communications through Blackboard and Peach Jar. They support PTSA and arrange for field trips. Our office teams receive, track, coordinate, and report on all school-related data, an astounding amount of data. They sort through and verify the mounds of paperwork for registrations and transfers, ensure error is complete and follow up on missing data, run attendance reports, mail incoming and outgoing records, organize and collect data for next year projections, verify residency, and prepare progress reports and report cards. And guess what? That's just all in a normal school year. This past year, our office staff teams have gone above and beyond. They have been present at work every single day and worked regular contract hours and then some. They returned from summer break a week early and called every single FSD family multiple times to verify the learning option that was chosen. They and all classified staff worked on-site during the 3 weeks in January that certificated staff was work on home status. Sorry. They set up student schedules to meet learning options, balance cohorts, and meet academic levels, and then readjust those schedules when families change their learning option. They coordinate COVID testing, material, lunch, or food box pickups at their sites. They coordinate with the tech team and IIS on tech for students and staff, and sometimes even provide quick tech help. They ensure that staff has PPE and sanitation supplies, that rooms are sanitized to meet COVID requirements, and that staff follow COVID procedures like masks and temperature checks. They have become the full-time health assistants in the office, while health assistants cover the wellness tents. This means caring for students with special medical needs, such as insulin for diabetic students or EpiPens for allergies, as well as updating medical records and calling parents. They coordinate supervision across campus while meeting social distancing criteria, which, as it was told to me by Emily at Parks, is a daily game of Tetris, trying to cover everything, especially at the junior high schools. So as a tech in the district, I think the office teams are comparable to what's called a main logic board in a computer. A main logic board is the heart of a computer. It houses the central processing unit as well as the main memory system and circuits that control multiple other components that ultimately make up a computer and ensure that it runs properly. Without the main logic board, a computer cannot run efficiently or run at all, much like our schools cannot run without our amazing office teams. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. FETA?
Well, before I get started, my name is Mark Jacobs. I represent FETA, and after my colleague from CSCA kind of listed all the things that our wonderful classified and especially our office staff does, it's completely appropriate praise because I'm going to be doing some of the same thing, because we do realize that they really are the key to making our schools run smoothly, and they have an incredible job, especially this year, working with that, I love that Tetris metaphor, because that's exactly what it is. So good evening, President Sugarman, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Pletka, and Cabinet. On behalf of FTA, I can say that teachers are very pleased to see that we have entered the orange tier, and we're ready actually to enter the yellow, least restrictive tier. Teachers are seeing more and more new faces as our students are returning to class. I know my class is getting larger, and it's feeling a little bit more normal and much more fun. The vaccine availability has now allowed teachers who desire vaccinations to receive at least the first dose, and the substantial decrease in COVID spread since January has reduced much anxiety. So I would also like to publicly thank teachers for doing, again, the impossible every day. And I would also be remiss not to mention our wonderful school nurses, counselors, mental health staff who have been extremely busy caring for and reaching out to our students and families. And what would we do without all of our support staff? At Raymond, for example, our office manager, Maria Gonzalez, and our office clerk, Bertha Perez, and our custodian, David Angeles, have kept our school running smoothly and safely while fielding myriads of questions and concerns from parents. So it was like you and I actually were in sync. This happens every day across all of our school sites. And I would like to also recognize the board and the cabinet and to thank the dozens, if not hundreds, of additional temporary support staff that you've all hired during this time to assist our schools and sites and our teachers. In 6th grade at Raymond, for example, we've had wonderful support of long-term sub for me and my other 6th grade colleague, Mr. Spector, who has helped teach and manage our in-person and virtual students. Look closely, and her name is Jennifer Yang. I'm just going to give her a shout out because every day I thank her. And she's like, oh, for what? I'm just doing my job. I said, I can't tell you how much you've made our jobs easier and smoother, being able to connect with our in-person students as well as maintaining connection with their Zoomers, because it is not easy to do. And so please look closely at these wonderful people, as there are many effective future teachers in that group of people that you've hired. So a lot of good ones there. With just, I was going to say 7 weeks, but it sounds like we decided there's 6 weeks of school left. I'll say that. Teachers are continuing to implement simultaneous hybrid instruction to the best of their ability. Our teachers continue to juggle, flex, and improvise to make the impossible happen. Teachers are preparing and adapting year-end activities to be inclusive and as engaging as possible. For example, our 6th grade at Raymond had to forego, as most 6th grades, camp this year up in the mountains. However, working with Camp High Trails, we're taking the kids to virtual camp next week. 3 groups of 20 students each will Zoom into camp with their camp counselor and spend an hour each day exploring the mountain biosphere while completing some of the same science activities that they would do if they were actually there.
Yay.
We're also adapting our annual Greco-Roman Day activities with social distancing and PPE so that we can still provide some of these fun year activities and traditions. We love teaching our students, and it's important to reiterate that working this current hybrid model is not easy and twice the work for teachers. We realize this hybrid model, though necessary, is not perfect, and we look forward to the fall where we can teach our students in a more traditional model and where they can receive our full undivided attention. COVID has shown that FSD can quickly pivot to continue to provide quality and safe education. It has also shown that some of our students excel at distance learning, while also demonstrating the importance and great need of in-person teaching for others. We continue to look forward to decreasing trend of COVID cases and continued vaccine availability for teachers and continued PAL collaboration with regular review and assessments with local health agencies about the local conditions, and continue to discuss instructional models to keep students, teachers, staff safe as possible. And we especially look forward again to the fall, to a normal opening, and also the different virtual as well as academy programs that we're going to be offering. I think we have a very special situation here at FSD. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, do we have anybody who'd like to speak for the administrators? Hi.
Well, good
Hi,
evening.
Dr. Gilligan.
It's hard to hear in the back there, so I wasn't sure if you had called me up here. But Robin Gilligan with FESMA, and just wanted to say that I know you've had a lot of reports and lots of fun celebrations right now, so I'm going to keep it short. But I too do want to just honor our management team, who has been right alongside our colleagues and our other counterparts to be able to make this year as successful as possible. We currently are in a mode of wrapping up 1 year while planning and executing and preparing for another year, and in between getting ready for all of our summer programs. So we have many plates that we are juggling in the air, and we have
fantastic teams of people in our management group that are working together to collaboratively to coordinate, plan, execute all of these plans simultaneously. So we are going to be wrapping up this year and trying to do as much as we can with the traditions that we know, as well as begin and plan to prepare for all the summer programming, and then prepare for our return in the fall. And hopefully, to the way things were, but with new innovative things that we've learned about this year. So we're excited to celebrate as we are moving forward for the remainder of this year, but we still have many important things to do. Assessments are still very important for us, making sure our kids meet their targeted academic goals, providing our SEL and mental health needs for our students, and then ensuring that our kids are having success in enrolling in the proper summer program so that they are having continuity throughout their entire time. So thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of our board minutes. Does anyone have any suggestions for changes or corrections? Not seeing anyone, do I have a motion?
April 13th.
March 9th. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, we are actually doing the minutes. Minutes are right before the agenda.
I move to only have 6 weeks of school this year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? That's a 5-0. Now we get to go to approve the agenda. Does anyone want to move anything around on the agenda? Not seeing anything? Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Accepted. Oh, no, that's significantly changed, so I'm going to have to look at that. Promotion update. This is something that I believe a lot of our parents are interested in hearing, so I want to take a second to make sure that they're listening. And we are going to have a presentation by Jeremy Davis and Robert Copeland. And you have a large cast here.
We do. We have an entire team.
Yes.
Board there. This is our tentative promotion plans. Again, tentative because things can change as we go. But basically our plans both for 6th grade and for 8th grade, and what's going to be happening. So we do have 44 days. We are planning on the orange tier. So what's happened is California has given us guidelines on what we can and cannot do. And they're all based on the orange tier. We did see just announced a couple hours ago that we're staying in the orange tier because again, we weren't seeing the drop down that was expected. So currently we're 5 weeks there at that orange tier and it's continuing. And in order to plan for these and plan logistically, we're going to plan as if we're going to stay in the orange tier until the end because we can't be changing last second. So that's currently our plan, is to continue based on California Department of Health's guidelines and continue based on what they've asked us to do within the orange tier. So we're going to have, Rob and I, Dr. Copeland and I, have been working with 2 wonderful committees. We have 5 elementary principals representing our elementary schools. And then we had all of the principals from the K-8 and the middle schools together on a committee as well. And we have 2 wonderful volunteers who said they would come and help present tonight the various ideas. So Rob and I will stick around for questions as well, and Rob will be jumping in just a moment, but I wanted to go ahead and start off with Erlinda.
Good evening. My name is Erlinda Soltero Ruiz, and I'm the principal of Valencia Park Elementary. And I am here to present really what we are going to be doing for our elementary schools. It's going to be a party. We're going to be celebrating two different ways. We're going to be celebrating the advancement of our sixth graders onto middle school. So first, we are going to be having a pre-recorded promotion experience that can be either live on campus or at home. And I'll discuss that a little bit further and with more details right now. And in addition, we are going to be having a drive-through ceremony event to receive certificates and take pictures on campus. So
Will those be the same day?
No, 2 different days, and I'll explain right now.
Thank you.
So the pre-recorded event is going to be either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday evening, depending on the coordination with high schools and also the junior high activities as well. The pre-recorded promotion will be on campus on our grassy area of our campus. We will be providing blankets with social distancing. So we're coming up with ways on how to ensure that everybody is keeping their distance. Also, we will be having 2 parents or family members per household per student. So it's the student plus 2 additional people from the same household. Guidelines will still be followed as with masks. And we will be having reservations, names required of everyone attending. So through probably Eventbrite or some other type of ways to reserve. And additionally, we will be having video projectors and screens provided by the district. So it's going to be a grand event so that you can see it in the luxury of your home with as many people as you would like, or on campus with 2 guests and required seating. Then on a separate day,
Can I stop you there for a
Sure.
second? Let's say Grandma and Grandpa live in Iowa. Can they Zoom into this also?
yes,
Thank
we will
you.
be sending the link as well. So simultaneously, whoever wants to watch at home, they will have it at home. And then if we will be on campus, viewing it as well. Then the second event will be a drive-through where it will occur either Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday on the early release days. And in this situation, students will be receiving their certificates or 6th grade t-shirts or any other type of goodies that they still have either on campus or they'll be receiving from their teachers. And they can have a photo opportunity with the step and repeat backdrop, so it'll be very personal. Student will be able to take a picture with their teacher, with admin that's there, and we'll be celebrating in that fashion for 6th graders that are promoting to the middle school. Designated times.
Does anyone else have questions?
I just had a quick question. If you go back a screen, what about siblings of the student? Are they allowed to be there? Or?
It is by reservation of 2 guests and the students, so we can have family members watch at home. But due to the numbers right now, we're following the orange tier guidelines of 33% in our gatherings that we're having, even though it's outside. Yes.
Got it, thanks.
Any additional questions?
Any other questions?
For elementary? Okay, consider.
And so just a little bit about the pre-recorded event. Just as we know over the last year we had families that felt more comfortable being at home, students doing distance learning at home. Some were comfortable coming to school, half-time, full-time. That's really what this is about. We know, so the event is pre-recorded. It's an opportunity for families, if they would like to, come to the campus and view, instead of viewing it at home, say on your iPad or your phone, on a big screen. And so it's just another option. It's one of the things that I think makes us very unique compared to other school districts is that we offer different options for different comfort levels. One of the things that I like to do is provide things for school sites, and so that they don't have to pay for, and it makes me, kind of a popular guy. So we will be this year providing for that event blankets, which so the family or they would come and they would sit right on a blanket on the grass. They would get that blanket. It'll be there. Also, we're going to provide yard signs for the students that are being promoted. Step and repeat photo backdrop. That will not be that night. That will be on the drive-through event that takes place. And then we'll have some balloon arches. So I think the principals are happy that normally these are some things that they would do, but this is an expense that this year we're going to be able to pick up.
This might be a silly question, but the blankets, will they be personalized for every school, or are they just going to be like an FSD blanket, or is it just going to be a plain little blanket?
So what we were thinking was a blanket with all 5 board members.
No,
No, we're not that.
Let's not do that.
So we are currently, Mike McAdams is currently, we're working with some vendors to see how personalized can we get, either with the school or with the FSD logo on it.
With the little year, graduating.
If we
or
want to put
promoting.
the year down, yes.
Thanks.
So let me understand this. There will be an on-site drive-by graduation where you can drive through and you'll get your diploma and whatever. And then at a different day, there will be an on-campus graduation for you and 2 people. And for those who don't feel comfortable coming on campus, there will be a video or Am I have this wrong? Okay.
You're very close. So the very first part is this, the promotion itself, which would be taking place earlier in the week, which will be live streamed, pre-recorded. Grandparents can watch, aunts and uncles can watch, wherever. And simultaneously, we will be playing that at the school site for the family that wants to come and view that ceremony at their site. That takes place earlier on in the week.
So it will not be for family. If families don't want to feel comfortable coming to school, they can view that from home. And by pre-recorded, what exactly will be pre-recorded?
So what that means is at the school site, the principal will not be standing up in front of the field giving a speech. It will be pre-recorded. It will be done live on the computer.
So you're pre-recording the program, not
Correct.
the actual handing out the diploma.
Correct. So
That
it
makes
is
sense,
if
yeah.
you think about last year, how we did, many of the schools did this pre-recorded. It was all virtual. It was a virtual promotion is what it is. We're taking it one step further this year by then later in the week having where they can do the drive-through. Not only do the drive-through, get their certificates and their goodie bag, but also an opportunity where they can take pictures, step and repeat, and take those pictures with their teachers if they're going to do that, or their principals.
Okay, that makes sense. Is everybody clear on that? Because I'm sure people are going to ask us, and we want to give them the proper answers.
So if you're
6th grade.
correct.
Right.
So if you're thinking about going to that elementary school and sitting on your blanket and watching the traditional kind of promotion, no, that's not it. You're going to be viewing this just as you would view it at home. However, there will be that sense of community for those who want to be there. And, your friends are over there, and your friends are over here. And so it's a way to ease back into this. So we're pretty excited about it. We think it's a great, it's not even a compromise, it's a great way to move forward.
And that event is all virtual. There's no interaction with the principal or no...
So the principal may be there. I would hope the principal's going to be there, but they're not speaking in front of the group. It will be all done. We're going to rent some big screens, almost very similar to what the foundation's doing with their drive-in. We will not be singing Grease songs. Possibly we will. but it will be just, it's more of a, we're going to watch like a promotion in the park, if you will.
Not interactive at all.
Not interactive. There's not going to be a stage. Not for that piece. And we're just talking about the elementary school right now.
About how long is that? Just, I'm sure people are thinking in their head.
Probably would be anywhere from 30 minutes to.
Okay.
Our thoughts are to have a slide per student so that we can actually recognize them, have a few pictures of them, announce their names instead of actually having them walk up. Everything will be projected. We will be there, and I will be welcoming all of the people and families and have the opportunity to showcase each student. It's not a rattle off of all the names. They'll have their moment. So, of course, people are going to want to cheer. That's why we're having our social distancing so that the families can truly appreciate that. But it's a community event to the best of our ability, given the situation. And if parents aren't comfortable, then they have that option to view it at the same time, same video for everyone to see.
Thank you. That sounds very nice, the idea of putting up the pictures.
And my guess is that if that event, if the principal will be there, I bet you could even get a picture with the principal. I bet you they would be there. They might even do that. Would you take a picture? She's going to take a picture. There you go. Which is what really, I mean, that's a good thing to have. So, okay, next we're going to go on to the 8th grade promotion, which is a little bit different. And so for that, we're going to have Laura Makeley come up and speak to this.
I have one more question. Like at our K-8 schools, are you doing a 6th grade and an 8th grade? So you're going to have two separate kind of.
They're not doing the 6th grade over there?
No, they don't graduate.
Okay.
I don't think they will.
Good evening. I'm Laura Makeley, principal of Parks Junior High School. I will be presenting the junior high model of promotion. We are very fortunate to have a partnership with the high school district, and so we will be using the high school stadiums for our promotion again this year. So Nicholas, Ladera Vista Park, we will all be at the high schools, and Beechwood and Fissler will be at their own facilities, possibly off-site at a facility such as EB3. So the 8th grade promotion ceremony will actually look very similar, almost identical to what we've done in the past. So that's really exciting for our community that we're feeling like it's back to normal again to an extent. So we are restricted though by a 33% capacity limit. So what that means is our students, because at Parks we're almost at 500 in our 8th grade class, it would be student plus 2, and we would require social distancing. We'll have plenty of signage. We'll have cones to keep people with that 6-foot distancing. We will require masks. It will not be formally practiced at the stadiums, but we do walk through the spacing, the processional, recessional at the school site so students are ready to go. And we will also require reservations with the families' names, and we will have staff members at the entrance of the stadium, so as people come in, we'll have a list of names, and we'll be able to check people off of that list there.
Will they be able to sing?
So we may work in a choir performance. We also are looking at a pre-recorded performance as well due to the distancing requirements and singing in masks. So we want to make sure that our students are really proud of the performance that they give, and we don't want them to feel like their live performance is compromised by the restrictions. We will have promotion speakers on stage as we normally do. We will also feature for the junior highs a live stream for the families that are not comfortable attending in person, so they will be able to view from the comfort of their own home. Our teachers will read the names of the students from the area in front of the stage as they always do, and students will come up as their names are read and just pass by. They won't be receiving a certificate at that time. They'll just pass by, and no handshaking. Students will be dismissed to their families at the conclusion of the recessional. So we will come in the same with a processional with the music, and they'll exit the same way with a recessional, but we'll be very careful about the congregating piece, which usually happens before and after. So we'll make sure that we're using the space. For example, at Buena Park High School, we will be using the quad area, so everybody's spread out, and that's where our step and repeat photo will be. The students will be on the field just like they have been before, but with 6-foot spacing between the chairs. We will also have teachers at the end of each row, as we have in the past chaperone. And as I mentioned earlier, the students will walk past the stage as their name is read and then return to their seats.
So for the 8th grade, a few different considerations. We're still doing yard signs for every single student for the 8th graders. The same step and repeat photo backdrop, and we might do a couple of them for the junior highs to make sure that there's not lines forming so we can get people moving. And the balloon arches, but also we're going to be doing live streaming teams. So we have 2 teams from IIS that'll be there, and then we're hiring 3 outside teams as needed depending on our scheduling. So we'll make sure that the event is live streamed with a multi-camera shot, so anybody that wants to watch from home will at least have the feeling of what's happening there as the students are passing by, since this is more of a live event. You know, we'll have someone from cabinet there, someone from the board there as an actual speaker, so that will be live streamed versus a pre-recorded presentation. So on that, and just to clarify really quick on the elementary, just to make sure, so I want to make sure it didn't sound like the video was students like walking up and getting a certificate and a video of that. It's very similar to what was done last year, basically almost like a PowerPoint slide presentation that's moved through with each child having a slide, principal's message in the beginning, so it might be like a 1-minute principal's message, then each student. So that video will not only be played simultaneously, but also will be available for them to watch anytime they want and be able, be accessible. So it's not like if Monday night at 6 o'clock they're not ready to watch at home, they will have the video link that they can watch anytime they want with their family, or to send to family anywhere in the country that they wants to watch. So besides that, any questions you have for the
Will
group?
there be a recording of the high school, of the junior high, so they also can do it at other times?
Afterwards, yes, because basically the live stream will have to be recorded. There'll have to be some editing, because you're typically recording multiple streams at the same time. We will be able to give that out later, but it wouldn't be immediate. But the live stream will be available on YouTube for anyone that wants to watch it while it's happening, and then we'll be able to post it later once it's edited.
That makes sense.
I have more of a comment than a question. It seems like this is another one of those things that we can take back and say, okay, this kind of works, because I know that with promotions and graduations, family members from all over the place would love to see their littles kind of and their bigs walk across or be recognized. I think that's something that we can take into the future and continue to do, to be able to offer that out.
I'd like to say thank you. You guys have really thought this through, and it seems like, considering the restrictions that we've been given, you've really come through with lots of wonderful ideas to make things the best they can possibly be for families. And for that, I really want to thank you for your creativity and hard work. And like Bev, I think that there may be ideas in the future that we carry on that are positive. Did you want to say something? No?
I have one question about, this will come up, people will want to bring chairs. And you have people who bring low chairs, and you have people who bring high chairs, and they block it, and it can be interesting.
Our goal is with the blankets, especially since they take them home, and they will be put into rows and aisles, and they'll be numbered. Because it's one of the requirements is the organization of the seating actually by the state of California is you organize the seating in an event. So for us, it will be the blankets with the numbers on the blankets. So it's like your blanket 1, your blanket 2, your blanket 3 in those rows. So our goal is to have everyone on their blanket for the half-hour movie, take the blanket and head home with them and not do chairs.
Yeah, that was one of my reasons for asking the question of how lengthy was that pre-recorded message, just so people have a better sense of how long they're going to be there for. So if it's half an hour, I think they can sustain sitting on a blanket for a half hour. My question for the high school are the junior highs already kind of pre-selected what high school stadium they'll be using?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other thing, is the step and repeat going to be happening the same day of? So that's all one day. It's not two
Yes.
separate.
Yeah, that's all one day for the 8th grade, absolutely. So as they recessional into the quad, we'll probably have multiple areas set up so they can go, so it doesn't become a long queue. We also don't want too much of the congregating, so we can stay within California guidelines around social distancing, 15 minutes within 6 feet. So we're going to want to have people set up, take their pictures, and head on home.
And sounds good.
Yeah. And these will all be, the junior highs at the high school stadiums will all be on the Friday of the week because all the stadiums are being used up through the Thursday. With our partnership with the high school district, ours will be Friday using the setup that they've already put together. So we'll have that ready to go.
Is that true for Fissler and Beechwood too?
We're looking at
Okay.
those days for them as well, but there's a little more flexibility there as we
Okay.
work with outside, with a third party. 28th? 28th.
May 28th. Okay, let me just get that on my calendar.
But yeah, our attempt is for all 5 to be on the same day. That's our goal at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Very nice presentation. Appreciate you doing that. Now, consent agenda. Does that take us off my entire agenda? We haven't done consent. I think it just feels like it.
You want me to make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now my question, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And President Sugarman, it would include the revised personnel,
And the revised
certificated
personnel,
report.
1A.
So a motion to approve the consent calendar with the addendum to consent item 1A.
Thank you. And is there anyone who'd like to pull anything?
No, I just wanted to acknowledge both the Teacher Appreciation Week, the Nurses Week, and then Classified Staff Week, both in May, pretty much all those in May. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, and hopefully the community can celebrate those weeks with those folks that have all put in a lot of time and effort into making this year pretty special, as we've heard before. But yeah, just acknowledging that, especially also our nurses. I know they were talking about, I used to sit on the board of the Pediatric Adolescent Diabetes Research and Education Foundation. It's a mouthful. We used to call it PADRE, or we call it PADRE. And it works with type 1 diabetics. And I know in the school system that's one of the key elements that a lot of families want to look into is making sure that there's adequate nurses at the school site to be able to take care of those students whether they're having low blood sugar or high blood sugars, regulating that, and then being able to give them some insulin and also glucagon for any emergencies that come along. So definitely kudos to nurses in our district.
Thank you. I'd like to point out at our last board meeting, we didn't have a lot of gifts to our school district. It really saddened me. And people must have said, oh, they didn't want me to feel sad because this time, can you put it up? We have $8,000 from the Fullerton Education Foundation, $23,000 donated by the Fissler PTA. Way to go. Fern Drive's foundation gave $6,000 to Fern Drive. The Mike and Susan Dale Foundation contributed $30,000 of their large grant. That's what they paid this last time. Wow. Fullerton Women's Club gave $1,000 in books to Richmond. And our Dr. Petka, always wanting to set the bar, donated sick days in case people in the district needed those days. It's always something that people can do And we thank you for being a great example, Dr. Fletka. And those are the donations I was so excited to point out. Thank you. Okay. Now, oh my goodness, my computer really hates me. Wait a minute, I think I have one written out here. Discussion items. And we did take a vote. It was passed. I vote. And so approve revised job description for site literacy response to intervention coach for K-6. Dr. Hammett?
Yes, we've made some revisions to this job description, very minor, added some more math components because we know that students, in addition to language arts, also need assistance in mathematics. And so looking at having RTI coaches that can assist students in either math or language arts. And then additionally, this coach job description is it changed to encompass students from grades K through 8th grade, so that we can make sure that we're also assisting our junior high students who need help.
Nice. It's a discussion item. Do you need any vote on that?
We're going to approve it.
We can approve action items if the board is so pleased to do, even though they are for discussion or action. Does anyone want to make a motion on it?
Move to approve the item.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions for Dr. Hammond or further discussion on the concept of a new job description for site literacy RTI coaches, K-6? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The next item is our pupil attendance calendar for the, can you believe, 2021-22 school year. Dr. Fletka, no, okay. Chad, is that yours again?
Yes, it is. So we brought this item to the board last time for a first read, so the board would have an opportunity to view this. At the board's direction, we provided this to our parent groups, PTA, DLAC, our Champions for Learning, and all groups had a chance to review. We didn't receive any comments back regarding the calendar. It seemed that everyone is pleased, especially that it's in alignment with the high school's academic calendar.
And our teachers would report back to school on the 10th of August with staff development on the 11th, 12th, and our students would return on the 15th of August. Does anyone want to comment on the calendar?
I guess just probably guessing why no parents had any comments is that we've all realized that time and space are just imaginary constructs when there's Zoom. So
I think I'm on the same page as you, because my feeling is I always vote against that early August start. But this year, I'm so concerned about student learning that I have no negative comments to make about this. Yep, can you believe? Is that your motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's a 5-0. Now we have a tentative agreement between California School Employees Association, our CSEA group, Chapter 130, and our Fullerton School District for July 1 through June 30th of this year. Do you want to tell us anything about that?
Yes, every year we enter what's called reopening negotiations. That's where we look at our collective bargaining agreement, which is what is commonly called our contract with our classified employees. And we have reopener negotiations. This tentative agreement represents the teamwork between the district and CSEA as we've reached a tentative agreement regarding the articles that were negotiated in the contract for the 2020-2021 school year.
Okay. Does anyone have any discussion or questions to ask on this?
I don't have any discussions, but should we maybe go ahead and go into the next item and then do them together or separately?
That's fine with me. Would you like to do?
Technically, if we could do them separately, if that's
Okay.
possible. Sorry, we
That's
just.
fine.
I move to approve this item.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to item D.
Yes, this is a memorandum of understanding with our California School Employees Association, Chapter 130. And a memorandum of understanding is an agreement that we have regarding different working conditions and items that impact classified employees, but that is outside of the collective bargaining agreement, outside of their contract. This is a MOU dealing specifically with COVID and the wrapping up items related to COVID for this school year and then looking towards the coming school year. Just a few of the highlights. There is a 2% stipend called a seamless service stipend being provided to our classified employees for providing ongoing service to our students to ensure that they, as you heard earlier tonight, providing services to ensure that our schools are safe and clean and that students were able to attend school and continue learning. There's also some provisions about reopening next year, and if there are still COVID restrictions in place regarding classroom occupancy limits, that there would be some provisions around how that would work. Additionally, there is an emergency community service stipend in here for those members of the classified unit who last year, when schools closed on March 13th, actually were out serving lunches on the front lines to our community, and were in line providing lunches to our students, handing lunches to parents in cars, handing lunches to students as they walked up to make sure that our students were getting lunches and dinners and even meals for the weekend. So our classified employees really stood up and helped us during that time and helped our students.
Stellar examples. Do I have a motion on this item?
I'll move to approve the MOU with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 130, on a seamless service stipend.
Do I have a second? Vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I think that this board is voting that with great appreciation to the work done by CSEA. Please convey that message to CSEA for us.
Thank you, I will.
The next item is approve, ratify, tentative agreement from this year with the Fullerton Elementary Teachers Association. Dr. Hammett?
Yes, this is a tentative agreement, meaning it is our annual reopener negotiations with FETA, our Teachers Association, for the 2020-2021 school year. And this document is the completion of our negotiations and our collaboration with FETA on that process.
Okay. Do I have anybody who'd like to make a motion on that or ask any questions? Or both?
I move to approve item E, to approve, ratify the 2020-2021 tentative agreement between the Fullerton School District and Fullerton Elementary Teachers Association, effective July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Further discussion? And how they learn to do so many things that no one in the world ever thought about in the history of mankind. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Number F. approve memorandum of understanding for a seamless service stipend and instructional model options for this year between Fullerton School District and the Elementary Teachers Association, FSD. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Please tell us some more. Thank you.
Yes, this is an MOU as mentioned with CSCA. This one is with FETA that provides for what sort of procedures and what changes to working conditions and safety, et cetera, will be in place due to COVID and the pandemic results still being around even as we enter the new school year. This does also provide a 2% seamless service stipend for our certificated employees, both our classroom teachers and all of the support staff that are on the certificated side. It also provides for a process for selecting teachers for a virtual instructional model. We know that there are still some parents who, when we come back, will say, you know, I really would like my child to continue receiving virtual instruction, and this will provide for a process for teachers to be selected to provide that virtual instruction for parents who select that for their child.
Thank you for the explanation. Do I have further discussion? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I do want to point out for our audience that this is all related to the number of days that we would be under COVID, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's prorated. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's a 5-0. The board has had all of this information for more than a week. We have phoned up and asked a lot of questions of Dr. Hammett about it. We have gotten many, many answers because when one board member asks a question, the district gives the answer to all of us. So I don't want somebody to think we are just randomly approving all of these memorandums of understanding and agreements with our unions. They have been well vetted by the 5 people on this board. Okay. Next, are we here at H? G. Approve memorandum of understanding with the Fullerton Teachers Association, Elementary Teachers Association, on innovative experience for 2021. Do I have some explanation, Dr. Hammett?
Yes, as part of STEM Nation, which you've heard about, and tomorrow is the first awards ceremony, there was the Innovation Experience. And the Innovation Experience is the opportunity for each school to provide a highlight of what innovative practices their students are experiencing. There was a certificated staff member who at every site coordinated and helped put this together, and this is a small stipend for that individual who helped put that innovation experience presentation together for their school.
Thank you, and it's something we've done in the past also.
Correct.
Do I have a motion on this?
I'll approve the MOU for the Fullerton Elementary Teachers Association on innovation experiences for 2021.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you both. Further discussion?
I did have a question. Normally, when we have stipends like that, they go onto our personnel report or on the report. Why is this one different? Just because it's in, why is this one different?
The first step is to actually approve the amount of the stipend because we don't have a specific provision within the contract that provides for that. Plus, things were different with COVID. So we wanted to make sure that first we specified how much the stipend was, and then you will see the names to be included on the next personnel report for those individuals who will be getting that stipend.
Thank you. Thank you for the
you.
clarification.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. H, approve ratify compensation adjustments for Fullerton School District's management group, including confidential employees, superintendent, assistant superintendent, business services, assistant superintendent, educational services, assistant superintendent, innovation and instructional support, and Assistant Superintendent Personnel Services for this school year, effective July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2020. And I want to just make very clear to our audience so that there's no question of transparency. This item includes a 2% one-time off-salary stipend for the following cabinet positions in addition to the other members of the management team: Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent Business Services, Assistant Superintendent Educational Services, Assistant Superintendent Innovation and Instructional Support, and Assistant Superintendent Personnel Services. The people at this table are very much aware of the limitless extra hours that our cabinet and superintendent have put in to make our school district effective since the start of COVID-19. And so they are part of the management team's salary schedule stipend. Okay? Now, would you like to say something?
This is a piece that goes along with the seamless service stipend that will be provided for the classified and the certificated employees, and this ensures that the management team also receives that seamless service stipend as they have been on the front lines at the schools along with our staff.
Thank you. Is there anybody who'd like to comment on this?
I would like to move that we approve or ratify the compensation adjustments. Should I read it all out loud?
Do I have a second? Any other comments?
I was going to put Chad on the spot just for a moment. I think,
are you on?
I'm on. Oh, sorry. I'm on. You turned it on for me? You guys, along with everyone else in this district that have put forth so much effort from the very start of this, when we thought, no, there's no way we're going to close down schools, to, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? Dr. Hammett, how many days in a row had you worked before you might have taken maybe one day off just recently?
It was a few. I'll just leave it at that. There were some months, yes, some months involved.
And I know everyone else had the same thing, I think, but just being on call, being there, answering questions, and on the front lines, I think you guys have done a phenomenal job in getting our district ready for its students and being able to provide that level of service to our kids that they needed. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I also wanted to give kudos to everyone involved in this. I know I came on in December, but I can't imagine all the manpower and all the leadership you guys provided to get the schools open in October. And then it also shows, what some of the other districts coming online, just this week, and coming to us to be an example of how they're going to be able to do this moving forward. So I do want to commend you guys for all the hard work and all the time and the tireless effort that you guys put into putting us where we are now, and us being a staple in the education community with what we're doing here. I get also a lot of calls from both my sister and other friends asking how are you guys doing it. So, but commend you guys for all the leadership that you guys are putting forth.
I think it's quite commendable that you were really hands-on and bodies on. You were out there in the front line all the time, and that's to be commended for sure.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
The exec board of FSMA, who works long, tireless hours to help join us. Mark Jacobs and his exec board, who spent hour after hour, weekend after weekend, I know for every hour that Chad was there on a weekend, I know Mark was as well. I want to acknowledge that. And CSCA and the exec board and all the time and effort and on weekends. So just a big thank you to everybody's exec board who was part of this.
Thank you. Phil, we want to stand up and applaud you all, every one of you, everyone. Administrative report. Chad, thank you for going through that quickly. Now you have the next section.
Yes, I'm still here.
This is 13A, Sunshine Fullerton Elementary Teachers Association 21-22 next year. Proposal to negotiate with the Fullerton School District.
Yes, prior to entering into negotiations for the 2021-2022 school year, we are required to have sunshine documents from each of our associations, in addition to what's called a sunshine document or initial bargaining proposals from the district to each of our associations. So the next four items are those sunshine documents. Additionally, the district's proposals to the associations will be brought back to the next meeting where the board takes action on those items before we can embark on the negotiation process for the next school year.
So A, B, C, and D are sunshine items. They do not require a vote. They are informative, and we have been given all of the background information. Thank you very much for your very detailed work and support of keeping us informed. Next is Dr. Copeland talking to us about the joint use agreement for school fields between Fullerton School District and the City of Fullerton. We have the agreement and the one question that was asked, that information in front of us.
So at our last board meeting, Trustee Talavera had asked to receive some information about the joint use agreement that we have with our field maintenance, City of Fullerton. So I provided the board with the actual agreement and some other information that you have up there. Just a little background. Back in 1987, the Fullerton School District and the City of Fullerton entered into a joint agreement with the maintenance of the field, in particular grass fields. When you look at the school sites, if you look at the grass fields and then the fields that are adjacent to it that belong to the city, it makes up about 84 acres. And this agreement deals with the maintenance of about 65 of those acres, and it's a mutually beneficial agreement because our students use the fields and many of our students use the fields after school with the youth sports. The way that it works is at 13 of our school sites, we partner with the city. They maintain those fields, they mow them, they trim them, they provide the irrigation, the water. What we do is we share in the expense, and it's a 50-50 expense. The school district uses those fields Monday through Friday when school is in session, and when school is not in session after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, on the weekends and the summertime and the holidays, then the city uses those fields. And as I said, I provided you some information as far as the cost. Typically, costs have been going up. When this first started, the cost to maintain those fields was approximately maybe $240,000. But as we know, costs have gone up with salaries and benefits, and pension plans, and the city is experiencing those cost increases too. And so the costs are going up. The agreement that we have it's an annual agreement. There's a time period where if the school district or even the city wants to change that agreement or modify it or even terminate, they can do so. And if nothing is done, it automatically renews until the next year. And so I know Trustee Talavera had asked to talk about this item, and the way that that's done would be at a board meeting here. And so there's not really a presentation on my part. We're here to answer any questions that you have, but I'd like to turn it back over to the board, and so the board can have their discussion.
Trustee Talavera, do you want to ask some questions of Mr. Carson?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, I wanted to bring up this topic first and foremost, knowing that the city of Fullerton had laid off quite a few of their employees in their maintenance department, and ultimately one of the key elements for me is really kind of tied to both the field uses that our students are involved in after school. So I see our fields as being kind of the second classrooms after school hours, whether that's providing through youth sports or any other extracurricular activities. It could be Boy Scouts, any other activities that happen on our school site. So I just want to just make sure that those fields are being maintained to the standard that we feel is right, and knowing that the majority of the acreage is owned by the school district, and the city is holding up their end of the bargain on this. And it does really kind of just tie to the social emotional aspect of the kids when they're coming to school and they're seeing school grounds, look, green and plush, and they get excited to come to school. They want to come to school because they know that they're going to be able to enjoy those grounds just like any after-school program or any other youth sport does. So that was just kind of one of my things. I just wanted to make sure that, again, with those city cuts, that they were holding their side of the bargain on this, and anything that we could do to kind of help support that. That's kind of why I wanted to bring it to our attention and see if we can have a discussion if this is the best agreement that we can get from this that's currently out there. So, we definitely want to make sure that our students feel welcome and enjoy coming to the campuses, enjoying the grounds as best as possible. I know there's been some challenges in the past, and I'm not one to shine on past experiences, but I have been pretty excited to see some of the schools, like Orange Shore, Valencia Park, and some of the others that the district handles and takes care of. Those are thriving. I do know there is some challenges with, particularly with Richmond Elementary, the field and park adjacent to Richmond's fields there. And then in the past with Woodcrest. So now that part's been renovated, I think it's showing kind of the fruits of its labor there. But that was just kind of one of my things. I want to make sure that the kids can thrive outside of the classroom. The fields being the second classroom, they're learning a lot as well too.
I guess part of what's being asked is, are you comfortable with what's going on?
So I am. One of the things, we did a little analysis of, why are costs going up also? And so I came into this district in 2017, and one of the first things I did is I started turning on the water. And we started doing, it's amazing what water will do, right? And so the water bill, again, we share, that's a 50-50 share with them. So that's one of the reasons the expense has gone up. The city has experienced some, they have some financial difficulties, and they've had some cutbacks. And I'm in communication with city manager, and he assures me that in the coming months, things are going to be, they're kind of doing a little revamp of that department. And so our goal with Director Schlops and myself is to work with the city to really just keep the communication going, to make sure that we are providing the best fields possible, not only for our students during the daytime, but also for the students in the community. So to answer the question, is this the best we can do right now? I believe it is. We have recently redone some fields, and the city shared in that expense when we did Woodcrest, when we did Valencia Park. Those fields are shared, and so we shared in those expenses. And we've been working with the city and kind of taking our own little part of aerating. We have some equipment that can do that, and that's made a huge difference by aerating and reseeding throughout the year. So at this point in time,
this is the checkers game where grandson and granddad will bond. This is the kitchen.
Both the city and the school district, we're going to continue to work with them to make sure that we are getting the best fields possible for our students. And I know Dr. Pleckton may have something that he would like to add here.
Yes, just to say we share in your desire to make sure that our fields do look good. They are important. And it's not just about green grass. We know that children, when they are in a facility or in a classroom or outside, how that is cared for and taken care of represents in many cases how they feel about themselves, feel about the environment they're in. And so whether it's grass or a classroom or whatever it may be, that this is important. And we will make sure that we also communicate both to the city as well as to our staff how important it is that our fields and our outdoor external facilities are kept up, that this is something very important. It's important to the board, and it's important to the board because it's important for our kids. So thank you for bringing this item up, and we will make sure we communicate that.
I just wanted to add a comment as well, maybe before we conclude this item. I'm glad we're talking about this issue. I think that as long as Director Slops is dealing with the city and representing the interests of Fullerton School District, we'll be in very good hands. I've been on the opposite side of Director Slops very briefly on Parks and Rec, and he is representing the district extremely well. So the water costs, we're heading into a drought. I mean, just because we're talking about this, it's drier than usual, drier than it has been. If we could look at artificial grass where it's appropriate, we might save some money. And then, of course, I think every time we talk about this, I have to say that, as long as the district is using best practices for pesticides and fertilizer when children are going to be near them, that's always very important to me, and I'm sure everybody else as well. So thank you very much for everything that you've done so far. When the city becomes not a very good partner for these shared use agreements, I hope that you'll let us know, or maybe before they start being a bad partner, so that we can take appropriate action.
Right. I think that's what I was going to say, is the fact that looking at the city's revamping of what they're doing with the community and Parks and Recs department and the facilities and the spaces that they have now, and how they're working through that, just making sure that they don't that they don't cut back on what their obligation is for our fields. It's important.
And they have been good with water. And in other districts, I have fought water boards, and when they've said there's restrictions and we're in a drought, and I've gone to them and said, look, our fields are extensions of our classrooms. Okay, we can't have kids on dirt. And once I tell them that, they understand that, and they're able to work with us a little bit more. So.
Thank you for bringing this up. Thank you for your comments, and we appreciate your work in this area. Our kids, our families, during school time and after school time, we all appreciate it. Thank you. Now, do we have any further requests for possible topics for the future?
I had something. I was just going to and you guys can give me a date if you already have something. I do want to kind of find out a timeline on the next update from Ms. Nava Mahares on our discussions and plans regarding the cultural awareness, racial equity, and inclusion across our district. Just wondering when we were going to get our next update on that. I know that there's a lot of work being done right now, and so just looking to see when we might have some more information on that.
Here, a couple things. One in the works, we have several plans we can do in our system. What we would like to also do is we had talked about the board, doing the potential board workshop, and then I can maybe a little bit of teach building piece too. And so we are meeting with her. We actually were trying to get to the Museum of Tolerance. It's not open yet. We're trying to find an alternative space and an alternative experience, and maybe even bring in a speaker or two. So that is in the works, and as soon as we can identify an open space during COVID-19, we will proceed forward. That's first and foremost, one of the things I know the board was interested in. Dr. Lee and I had just met with Danielle just 2 days ago? 2 days ago about this very topic. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. On that line, I want to remind everybody that we have Asian and South Pacific Islander Month coming up in May, and we're very excited to have that, a reflection of our commitment to honor all people, and as a result of our listening tour, it's so interesting that is very timely right now. And last of all, usually we read the names of those who are retiring that are listed on the board agenda, and I didn't do it tonight because there are a lot of people on that agenda, and I know we're having a special event for retiring people, and so I decided that we want to honor them in a more meaningful way, and that's why those names weren't read tonight. Anything else from the board?
I would like to compliment my board because this has really been enjoyable the last 5 months, and with you coming on board, I think we work really well. I think we get things done, and business is great. Thank you all.
Welcome. Okay. We're going to adjourn. Our next meeting is April 27th, 2021. I know everybody's excited to join us again. Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to look at that thing over there.